Title: The Inheritance They Couldn't Steal. The first time they smiled at me again, it didn't feel like home. It felt like a courtroom, silent, cold, waiting for judgment. My father's voice, smooth and rehearsed, said, "We'll guide you through this. It's a lot of money for someone so young." My mother's eyes glimmered with a mixture of nostalgia and calculation. They didn't know that the room, the lawyer, the papers, the millions, none of it was theirs to control anymore. I remember the day they left, years ago. I was 10. Their absence was a void I filled with quiet rebellion and careful observation. Every empty room, every missed birthday, every forgotten promise etched a lesson. Trust is currency, and they spent it recklessly. The thought of them returning now, dressed in familiarity, smiling like they cared, it should have broken me. Instead, I felt the first flicker of anticipation. It wasn't sudden, the realization that they had never truly wanted me. I noticed the patterns before I could even name them. A touch too light, a glance too measured, questions designed to probe, not care. Then came the text from a distant cousin. "They've been planning to get the money, haven't they?" I didn't respond. I didn't need to. I already knew. I began watching, collecting, noting every inconsistency, every subtle attempt at influence. They had returned for the inheritance. That much was clear. I didn't confront them, not yet. There was no room for emotion, only calculation. I traced the financial threads, revisited old legal documents, dug into hidden clauses in my aunt's will. Every lawyer I consulted, every meeting I scheduled, every signature I collected, it was a quiet symphony of preparation. I built walls of legality around my independence while letting them believe they had the upper hand. The adoption papers arrived in a neat manila envelope. I placed them on the table and watched as their eyes scanned the document. Their smiles faltered. My father's hand twitched. My mother's jaw tightened. "What is this?" he asked, his voice sharper now, the rehearsed charm crumbling. I leaned back, calm, collected, a mirror of the patience I had learned in their absence. "It's final," I said. "Adoption is irreversible. Everything is in my name. All of it." I didn't need to raise my voice. The silence around us became louder than any outburst. I saw the gears turn in their minds, the calculations they had made for years unraveling in real time. They had assumed I was naive, pliable, the same child they left behind. They were wrong. I had grown, watched, waited. They lunged for legal threats. I countered with facts. They tried emotional manipulation. I met it with calm indifference. Every tactic they thought would bend me only reinforced the wall I had built, brick by careful brick. By the end, they were not angry. They were stunned, exposed, powerless. The millions were mine, but the real victory was the certainty that they could never touch me again. I let them leave the office. I watched their retreating backs, their whispered curses swallowed by the lobby's sterile echoes. Outside, the city continued, indifferent. I didn't feel triumph. I felt relief. Relief that I no longer needed their validation, their guidance, or their empty promises. I had won, yes, but in a way that left no room for bitterness, only control. Later, in the quiet of my apartment, I revisited the adoption papers. Signed, sealed, irrevocable. I allowed myself a small smile. They had returned thinking I needed them. They left knowing I no longer did. That truth, silent, precise, unassailable, was the sweetest inheritance of all. Years of silence had taught me patience. Years of absence had taught me vigilance. And now, in the calm aftermath, I realized the final lesson. Betrayal cannot be undone, but it can be mastered. I had done more than secure a fortune. I had reclaimed myself. They had walked back into my life as if nothing had happened. I let them leave, knowing everything had changed. And for the first time in my life, I was untouchable. If you want, I can also create a version with even sharper, punchier cinematic beats, making each line feel like a slow burn thriller scene, perfect for a script or narrated short story. That version would heighten tension moment to moment and make the betrayal and revenge feel almost tactile. Do you want me to do that next?